This lecture is over cloud types and formations. Clouds are divided into low, middle, and high levels. Clouds have four forms: cumuliform, stratoform, nimbusform, and cirroform. And if you look to the picture, this kind of represents it. So there's cirrus, which are the high level clouds, there's alto, which are the mid level clouds, and then there's stratus and cumulus, which are the lower level clouds. And we'll go into that a little more. Clouds are divided and named by structure and height in the atmosphere. And the presentation will go over that too. Okay, the lower level clouds. These clouds range from the surface to around 6,500 feet, and they are the stratus, stratocumulus, and cumulus clouds, if you can see here. Okay, cumulus. They are the most common cloud type. These are the clouds that, if you were ever lay on your back and on a nice cool day, these are the clouds that you watch and look at pictures in. You might see a duck or a house, those clouds. Cumulo is Latin for heap or pile. They kind of look like fluffy white cotton balls just floating through the sky, having a great day. These are the clouds you want to see it. And they're made out of water droplets. These clouds indicate good weather. Stratus clouds. They appear as a sheet or a layer of clouds that have some defying features, if you can kind of see. It's kind of like a big sheet just floating around. They're low, flat, and gray because they're the lower level clouds, and then they can be a little darker. Strato in Latin means layer or sheet, so that's where the name stratus kind of comes from. If you can remember the Latin, it will really help later on, when understanding what type of cloud it is. These clouds can bring light rain or drizzle, so you can kind of see the grayness. That kind of means rain or drizzle. Yeah. Stratocumulus clouds. These clouds are lumpy, layered clouds that are made out of water droplets. These clouds also indicate light rain or drizzle. And if we remember kind of from the beginning, strato means sheet, and cumulus means kind of heap or pile. And if you look at these clouds, it's a sheet with kind of piles. You see the little bumps in it. So that's a way to remember what this cloud is remembering the Latin meanings. This is what I was talking about earlier. Okay, mid-level clouds. These clouds range from around 6,500 to 20,000 feet. Okay, these clouds are altostratus and altocumulus. Okay, altostratus. Alto kind of if you see alto in front of a cloud, or a cloud in a cloud name, alto means kind of middle in this sense. Or if in Latin, it means more high. So they're higher in the sky compared to stratus and cumulus clouds. These are dark gray clouds that usually indicate rain. Oh, no. They also are composed of water droplets and ice crystals. Remember stratus sheet? Kind of see that these are a sheet. Kind of look like a sheet. Yeah. Okay. Altocumulus. Remember cumulus? That means kind of pile, or you think of the cotton balls. Yeah. These clouds tend to range around 12,000 to 18,000 feet. They're small, white, and puffy, like the cotton balls over here, you can see. And they can also indicate thunderstorms, especially on hot, humid mornings. And they're also a variation of altocumulus clouds, like the standing lenticular, which is right here, this one over the mountain, which is really cool looking. Okay, and this usually kind of happens on the leeward side of mountains. Yeah. Okay. High level clouds. These clouds are they're above 20,000 feet. Okay, and these clouds are the cirrostratus, cirrus, and cirrocumulus. Okay. Cirro is Latin for curl of hair, which these kind of look like little curls. Yeah, you kind of see it. These clouds are composed of tiny ice crystals in the upper layer of the atmosphere. Because thinking, we're really high now. We're like 20,000 feet in the air. So there's not much water droplets. It's more ice. Okay. And if you see these clouds can mean fair weather. And they can also indicate a warm front coming, which is really interesting. Okay. Cirrostratus. Cirrostratus. Okay. Think the stratus clouds. Oops. Okay. They appear thin and icy, and they can cover the sun like a veil. And this can create a halo effect around the sun and moon. So, like this image over here. Okay. They are high, flat clouds that can indicate rain or snow. Okay. Cirrocumulus. And then you can also see here, cirro and then cumulus. They appear small, white, and they look like a bunch of tiny cotton balls. If you can see here, remember the cumulus, they tend to look like cotton balls. It means heap, pile. And then cirro, it's up really high. Okay. And they're composed of ice crystals. Okay. These can also indicate, this type of cloud can indicate fair weather and like storms. Fair. It's also like cold. See, it's like maybe like snow. Like if you live in a snowy area, you might see this in the winter. Okay, stormy clouds. Okay, nimbostratus and then cumulonimbus. So the nimbostratus is kind of, if you can see, it kind of ranges from low to middle. And then the cumulonimbus can go all the way from low to high. And these clouds will indicate rain. Okay. So nimbostratus. These are dark layered clouds that produce rain or snow. And if you can see, this is super stormy weather that you do not want to be caught in, especially if you're a pilot. This is not a good fly day. Okay. Nimbo in Latin means rain. These are typically seen from the lower levels, but they can kind of extend to the middle and higher sections. So they're not really set in a level. But if you remember looking back to the Latin, nimbo, rain, stratus, sheet. So that's what this is. It's like a sheet of rain clouds. Okay. Cumulonimbus. This one's kind of like a tongue twister for me. Okay. These clouds extend from the lower level to the higher levels, and these clouds are commonly known as thunderstorm clouds. They appear like towering and anvil shaped. You can see over here, and then there's like a dark base. Yeah, that's what they look like. Okay. These are made out of water droplets and ice crystals because they're in the higher section. So this part, like more up high, would be ice crystals, and then down here it'd be like water droplets because like rain, so rain would come down. Okay. They can bring rain, thunderstorms, hail, and in some cases tornadoes. These are very dangerous clouds. You do not want to fly near them or in them or around them, anywhere. Okay. So a little memorization cues to help you remember all the clouds because I know we went over like a lot. Okay, so clouds by level. For the low clouds, you can remember like some smart clouds. Stratus, stratocumulus, and cumulus. Okay. For the mid-level, all altos. Altostratus and altocumulus. And for the high levels, you can remember cirrus clouds circulate. So cirrus, cirrostratus, and cirrocumulus. And then for the nimbus ones, for nimbus stratus and columbus ones, you just kind of like remember the rain. They're just the rain clouds and stuff. Okay. And then to remember like what each kind of remember the clouds and their meaning. So stratus, they're the blanket clouds. Kind of remember that's the sheet we were going over. They're kind of like a sheet. It's a blanket. It kind of just covers the sky. And then cumulus, these are the fluffy like cotton ball clouds. They're like, yeah, they're kind of fluffy. And then cirrus, these are the wispy hair-like clouds. And then nimbus are the rainy clouds. And if you can remember the section, like what each section in like the name means, if that makes sense to you, then you don't even have to worry about really memorizing any definitions of the clouds. If you can just remember that, like shadow cumulus, that's sheet, and then like it's like the blanket fluffy clouds. And then, or if you remember alto cumulus, these are the mid-level cumulus clouds, like kind of fluffy clouds. Then you're pretty good. You don't have to worry too much about memorizing. Okay. And then after this slide, I'm gonna add another slide and upload this lecture as like a YouTube video, so you can come back to it and refer to it. There's also an activity attached to this, and for the activity, you're gonna there's like these little riddles, and it's gonna be over like what we learned. So like, don't worry, you can go reference the slides and everything or the lecture, and then and then you just kind of answer with what type of cloud it is, like solve like the riddle. And then there's also like a sheet, there's a picture that shows all the clouds so you can just use that as like a word bank. Okay. And then after that, there's like a quiz.